Hello and welcome to Module 3. So this week it's going to be a little different for the assignment, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with that. Let's look at our discussion board first. This week you are going to focus on home care. Lots of technology has, happened in the last 10, even 20 years where we are basically, able to do home care for a lot of these patients, so they don't need to venture out and get to these appointments. We can kind of take care of a lot of things in the home. So what we want you to do here is locate an article that discusses technology and home care. You see so many things now available through Skype or telehealth or anything like that. So see what you can find. And I'm sure you guys are using a lot of this in some of your areas, especially if you are a rural setting, simply because we just don't have sometimes the amount of doctors that you do in more of an urban setting. Now, for the assignment, I'm just going to scroll down here. This week you are doing a PowerPoint, and sometimes when students hear the word PowerPoint, it kind of makes them a little nervous simply because some of you have never worked with one. I am uploading, it's the webinar that we use at Aspen for, PowerPoints in APA format. There's of course not going to be any voice overview with that, but you can go ahead and read on the slides how you set it up and what you need to do, some of the rules that you need to follow with that. Otherwise, please don't hesitate to reach out to me because I know PowerPoints can be a little bit nerve-wracking for you guys, so I am going to spend quite a bit of time going through that. So with your assignment, it's going to be focused on telehealth. You need to have a minimum of 3 sources for this assignment, and those will have to be cited in the PowerPoint. All of your references are going to go on the last slide. Kind of set up similar to a paper, but yet it still has some different qualities to it. I'm going to let you look at the directions itself on what needs to be included in the assignment. I want to kind of focus more on how you set up a PowerPoint. All right, so do not write a paper in the PowerPoint. One of the mistakes that students can make is they just fill that slide full of nothing but words, like a paragraph. That's not how a PowerPoint needs to look. It needs to be bulleted. So short, concise sentences that is getting your point across. Now, if you want to use speaker notes, that's perfectly fine. It is not required for this assignment, so you're not going to get extra points if you use it. You're not going to get dinged if you don't. But you are able to put speaker notes into PowerPoints in that note section. If you're struggling with how to figure that out, feel free to email me. I'm not putting that in the directions because it's not required for the assignment. But sometimes, and I know moving into some of your other classes, you will have to use speaker notes. So it's kind of nice just to be able to practice with that now. If you need help with that, let me know. All right. Pictures, media, graphs, it is required for this assignment. It's in your directions, it's in your rubric. This is worth 30 points of your assignment. So please don't give me 1, 2, 3, or 4 pictures. It's just not going to cut it. When you have something worth almost a third of your grade, I expect to see a good chunk of media, graphs, things like that in your PowerPoint. Now, don't overload it because that makes it too busy and you kind of lose the point of your PowerPoint. Try and find a balance. I typically, this is just what I've done in the past. Like, let's say my PowerPoint has 20 slides in it. I will try and find about half of that to be some kind of media or picture or graph that I incorporate into that. And sometimes a picture says 1,000 words. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, citations are required in PowerPoints. Just like you have to do citations in your paper, you have to do citations in your PowerPoint. It's set up the same way. What's really easy about PowerPoints is if you do a parenthetical citation in the lower right-hand corner of your slide, you're good to go. The only exception to that would be, like, let's say you have a bulleted piece of information you have in the slide and it's a direct quote. You might want to just have that citation right up there by the direct quote because remember, you need to include a page or a paragraph number with all direct quotes. All right, I'm just looking at my notes here. Feel free to use a background. You're not going to get docked if you just have a plain old white PowerPoint. But experiment with that. You can go to the layout button and you have preset backgrounds. Experiment with that. I know it is going to be something you're going to have to do in upcoming courses because I've taught those and I know it's part of the rubric and part of the directions. So again, not going to necessarily be graded on it. It just makes your PowerPoint pop a little bit more. White is boring, okay? Every slide needs to have a heading. This is something students forget to do. Every slide needs a heading, and it could be just 3 or 4 words. It might not even need to be that much. But even if you're continuing your content onto the next slide, restate your title. You always want your reader to know what is going to be on that slide. So your reader needs to know, is this something I really want to read or not? Now, obviously, I have to look at it because I'm grading it. But that's how people look at things in the real world. They look at the headings. If that heading doesn't apply to them, they move on. Every slide has a heading. Now, speaking of slides, your title slide, your objective slide, and your reference slides do not count in your slide number. So if you have to have, I haven't looked at the directions here, so I don't remember, but if you have to have, let's say, a minimum of 15 to 20 slides, then your title slide, your objective slide, and your reference slide do not count in that. You literally have to have a minimum of 15 to 20 content slides over your topic. All right, no more than 7 to 8 bullets or points on a slide. It can get really busy on some of our slides. Avoid size 12 font like what you're supposed to use in your papers. You want a bigger font for your PowerPoints. Now, I'm not talking like 36 or 72. Generally, 18 is about what we're looking at on PowerPoints. So sometimes 7 or 8 bullets can get very busy. You have to try and find a balance, okay? All right. Then your reference slide compiles all references as the last slide in APA format. Now, this is a little bit different than the paper. In the paper, you always have to use hanging indent form. In a PowerPoint, you can do hanging indent form if you would like, or you can do bullets, just like you did on the content of your slide. You've got a little bit more variety there. But same rules apply. Still needs to be in alphabetical order. You need to follow all the other rules of APA as far as references go. So if you have any questions, please email me. My cell phone number is 605-214-0263. Don't be afraid to reach out to me that way. If you want to talk on the phone, just shoot me a text and say, hey, what would be a good time to visit with you for a little bit? I generally don't answer my phone if I don't know somebody's calling me because, you know, there's all kinds of telemarketers and things out there like that. But don't be afraid to text me if it's something I could quickly answer in a text. So good luck, and I'll see you in a week.